Welcome to the continuation of our series on RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Today we're covering the specific aspect of generation. Yesterday we dealt with retrieval. So what is generation all about? Generation is the end section of the RAG sequence of flows. And what generation generally does is it ensures that the information as retrieved at the retrieval stage is presented to the person querying that information in a natural language format, so in a format that's easy to understand. So it refers to that process of creating human-like text. So when the information returns, you, that's the person that's the recipient of that information, would feel like the document is speaking to you like a natural person. So that's why typically people say RAG is like chatting to a PDF document or any sort of knowledge base. So RAG consists of retrieval and generation. The generation is the aspect we're in today, and the components of the generation side of things would include things like, when you send your query through into the RAG system, firstly it needs to understand what that input is about. So in some cases, it converts the query into some sort of embedding or vector, which essentially is mapping the text to numbers, because computers recognize numbers. And then the documents that it's trying to search would already have been converted to numbers or vectorized. And then once that's done, both sides are now numbers. It then uses the numbers to work out what the similarities are, and then it returns the information based on those similarities. So that's where the synthesis goes in and the retrieval goes in. So the retrieval is using those numbers to see where the corresponding information should be in any of the documents. And then when the information comes back, we then take that information and present it to the typically large language model that takes that information and then converts it into text that is easy to consume. So how it works is one might ask a question. If we take it specifically from a real estate standpoint, one might ask a question such as, what are the current trends in the downtown real estate market? So the retrieval document would peruse the different reports that exist within the database, look at property values, demographic changes, and any new developments. And then the generation stage will convert any of that information that is retrieved into something like, the downtown real estate market has seen a 7% increase in property values over the last quarter. And then the rise is driven by new commercial developments, and all of that type of text. That can only happen with a large language model. So the retrieval is just essentially querying a database to get information back. The generation is taking that information that's been retrieved and then converting it into a nicely laid out text or nicely laid out paragraph. So what are the benefits of generation? One is efficiency. So when the questions are asked, everything is automated. The checking of documentation is automated, and then the conversion of that document information into natural language, that's all automated. And then you have the benefits of accuracy and personalization. So accuracy comes from the fact that the response is based on the documents that have been queried and the search results. And the personalization means that you can tailor the response to any specific queries, and the response you do get would be consistent, because the source of that information is the exact same document that you've used as the context for requesting the answer to a query. So it just remains for us to talk about a typical use case. Let's say you're Emily, a real estate agent, and you spend hours typically going through different property listings, market trends, and different inquiries. So to her mind, she would want a tool that could do all of that for her. Well, right now, the RAG solution can solve that problem. So with RAG, Emily can just input a single query, such as, what are the best properties for a family with 2 kids in downtown? And then the retrieval component just goes off and fetches all the relevant information, and part of that process would be to synthesize the information that's come back. And once it's come back, then the text that's been retrieved or that's come back through the query is then sent to the generation component. The generation component is your large language model. So it could be your ChatGPT or GPT-4o, it could be Claude, it could be Gemini, any of those types of tools. What they will do is they'll take the context, they'll take the query, and then return an answer based on the information that you have sent the request with. So they're essentially your prompts, your system prompt and your user prompt. And the response comes back with text that's coherent and you can easily use in any report you have. So in conclusion, the generation aspect of these things is really about creating a solution where the queries are based on information that you have, your knowledge base or any documents, and the information you get back is information you can use as though you were just reading a report or a novel. So that's the generation aspect. So that's where we'll conclude today's lesson. So over the last couple of days, we looked at RAG, the definition of RAG, which is Retrieval-Augmented Generation. And we looked at the retrieval aspect and then also looked at the generation aspect today. And to recap, RAG is all about querying documents or knowledge bases to return information in a natural language format. So it simulates you chatting with your document or any reports that you have on knowledge base. So that's the power of AI and the RAG technique. So until next time, keep winning.